And we're live. First and goal. Like we never left, Justin.
Yeah, it's been a rough start for CSU so far in this one. Currently down 28-0, looking like Washington State's about to go up 35-0. Here with my guy, Andre Simone. We're going to be reacting live for the rest of the second half.
Ward's been incredible. The last few drives for the defense have been more promising, but Ward keeps doing stuff. That's a hell of a... They're making plays. There's stuff going on.
It's been tough. They've had to defend so many short fields. It's a brutal spot. The pass rush has gotten home a couple of times. Cam Ward's been able to improvise, make some really impressive throws. I mean, this has been ugly, but...
This Washington State team might actually be good, though.
They're legit. I mean, not trying to make excuses, not trying to do anything like that, but you see what Ward brings to the table, and some of these throws he's made have definitely been NFL caliber throws.
Yeah, no, he's something. He's really able to improvise and make plays, man. That's kind of been the story. As close as CSU's come on some of these stops, then Ward just finds a way and makes plays. Also, their backs are good. Like, I think Washington State might actually be legit. And obviously, it's not this beatdown of CSU that would be the primary evidence of that, but more that Wisconsin game. Third and goal, though, here. So let's see. Get him! Oh, there you go. Force a field goal.
Force a field goal. That's a win compared to everything else.
I mean, last three drives, the fourth drive for Wazoo, they had to take a long time to score. Ward really was in his bag to extend that. They get the stop before half, and they get stopped down here on the goal line. Defense has definitely figured some things out the last few.
It's encouraging that they're not laying down. I mean, that's been a thing with CSU teams over the years, and it's been a big problem. Just when the going gets tough, things tend to compound with this program, and bad losses turn into even worse losses. So it would be great to see CSU show some fight here in the second half. Obviously, at this point, you're down 31-0. You're not exactly expecting to get back into it. But, I mean, it's been tough. These first 3 weeks have been a big splash of reality after all the excitement generated by Jay Norvell. Still think he was a terrific hire. I think when you look at the things that he's doing from a community engagement standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, that's all easy to get excited about. But it's a results business, and ultimately, these first 3 weeks have been tough. They're going to have to figure out some things with the offensive line. They reshifted some things in this game. They were missing Dante Keys at right tackle, shifted Gardner over to left tackle after starting the season at center.
And, the right tackle spots had some moments, both good and mostly bad in this game, but somewhat held up. But I think, it's early off in Jay's tenure to where signs like the defense still hanging tough when they're getting blown out, and they're on the field damn near the whole game is one of those positives you can kind of see. And, they're playing hard for their coach. I also love Jay's demeanor on the sidelines.
I do too. I mean, they're in the process of creating a winning culture, and I think especially in the transfer portal era, we all want to see the immediate results. You look at a team like Utah State and you think, what could be if everything goes perfect, but it just has not been an instance where that's happened, and they've got to iron through some things. I mean, Norvell talked about multiple times throughout the week that this is a team that is essentially in the process of learning how to win, and there's a lot of things that go into that, from mindset to preparation to being able to roll with the punches, and it takes a while. I mean, I think back to Jim McElwain 10 years ago in that 2012 season. You beat CU in the first game. There's all this excitement. Everybody's stoked. Then you follow it up with a loss to an FCS team at home. It was North Dakota State at the peak of their program, so, it's not like Illinois State in 2018 or something like that for CSU. But, I mean, it just kind of demonstrates that there's highs and lows, especially in the early process of transitioning a program, and that's even if you have talent. That 2012 Rams team had a lot of talent that ultimately went on to the NFL. I mean, you look at Capri Bibbs in the backfield and Grayson at quarterback and all the talent they had in the offensive line and Shaq Barrett and Corey James and all this great stuff. And it still didn't click immediately. They still lost 6 straight games at one point in that year before finishing 3-2 down the stretch. It's a crappy spot to be in where you're hoping, that the future turns better, that, ultimately we don't have to panic too much about the results right now because things are hopefully going to turn around. But that's just kind of the mindset that you have to have if you're a CSU fan right now, and understand that this is a tough schedule. I mean, like Dre said, Michigan and Washington State look legit. Middle Tennessee, that was a bit of a humbling moment, and I think that was a tough pill to swallow.
That's the toughie, dude.
But,
and I mean, going back to the McElwain days, that is the only thing that worries me about how Jay has gone about business in year one is you need years to develop these kids. If you're just churning out a new roster every year, it's going to be hard at this tier of college football to ever get competitive.
Yeah, it's just hard to establish consistency that way. It takes a while to get people familiar with your system. I will say, in regard to that, what's encouraging if you are a CSU fan is just the fact that when you look at the recruiting class for 2023 and what CSU is doing, currently the number 1 rated recruiting class in the Mountain West on all the major sites, 247, ESPN, On3, all that stuff, is that they are doing well from a prep standpoint, building forward. But yeah, I mean, this first class, it's a lot of transfers, and I think what we've seen, especially with this offensive line, is just that they have not been able to establish the continuity in the spring and over the summer that you would need to be competitive. And
yeah,
that's tough. I mean, when you bring in guys that have played other places, you're hoping everything goes well. It hasn't played out that way. Hopefully, as they iron some things out here down the stretch, they're able to work through some of these problems. But man, it's been tough. It's tough to be a college football fan in the state of Colorado right now. Whether you're a CSU fan, whether you're a Buffs fan, it's just
even Air Force Cup.
Even Air Force. Losing up in Laramie. It's
not great.
A lot of humbling experiences stacked up.
Well, with the O-line, the biggest thing is you worry that it's going to get Clay Millen into some bad habits, but Clay, after a couple shaky drives, I've liked what I've seen, man. He's gotten it out quickly. He's only taken, 3 sacks so far this game?
Yeah, 3 sacks, which is, that's not great, but it's a lot better than the 8 or 9 that they've been taking the last couple of weeks. I felt like early on, he's maybe feeling some ghosts, some pressure that wasn't necessarily there.
Exactly.
But it's just a tough spot. I've seen some fans be really critical about Clay's pocket awareness and his presence with the blitz, but when you're scraping yourself off the field each and every play, it's easy to start feeling blitzers that aren't there. And he's inexperienced. It's his 3rd career start. He's going to have to work through some of this stuff. And that's, what Norvell's talked about is just that, it's easy to be like, hey, pull him, save him. But these reps are valuable. And the ability to work through some of these issues are valuable. We saw it in the Michigan game in the 4th quarter where they're finally able to break through, score a touchdown. That was encouraging. The 3rd quarter was obviously great. You had 3 straight scoring drives, had an opportunity to get a 4th, but ultimately missed a field goal and kind of killed the momentum there. They're a high-variance team. I mean, when it pops, it looks great. When you see Torrey Horton, torching somebody over the top and an easy touchdown, it's easy to get excited about the future. And when you see the offensive line just really struggling to protect the quarterback, it's easy to get into panic mode and feel like the sky is falling. And, myself even is included in this, but I think with the things that we saw in the preseason, everything we're getting excited about from a community engagement standpoint, from a recruiting standpoint, and when you think back to what those Norvell offenses did against CSU in previous appearances, which was scoring an average of 48 points per game against the Rams, you're thinking year 1, we're going to turn it around. It's been a couple of years of ground and pound, meathead football. you're so desperate to have a winner that it's easy to get ahead of ourselves. But the truth is, this is going to be a process. And, I'm not trying to tell the fans that they shouldn't be upset.
Going for it, man.
I like it. What do you have to lose at this point?
No, absolutely.
You're down 31-0, 4th and 5, 10 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. I mean, at this point, the game's well out of hand.
Well, and they showed that graphic, fewest yards per play, CSU's in the top 5. I think it's shown how Jay's not, selling out to just get points. Jay's really invested as a play caller in maintaining balance, making it so that Clay Millen isn't going to be completely under fire, where he's not dropping back 40 times a game and teams can just like light them up, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they're trying to establish some balance here. We've seen it with the play calling. I mean, they're attempting to get the run game going. It just unfortunately has not really worked out yet, and it's even tougher when you're down both of your original starting tackles coming into the season. Brian Crespo out for the year. Dante Keys misses this game. You shift some things.
Well, and I mean, sticking without Vivens and how much they've stuck to the run game, that they had a walk-on take a rush attempt earlier. I mean, like they're really kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel here as far as being able to run the ball or do anything is concerned right now. It's been interesting to look at these live lines. CSU turnover on downs in the plus 150s later, brother. Which I guess makes sense, though that's a lot of belief that they'll convert this 4th and 5. Touchdown plus 170 at the DraftKings Sportsbook right now, which is also the presenting sponsor of this here watch along. So
there've been some opportunity to make some money in this game. Unfortunately, if you were fading the Rams, a lot of opportunities to bet on Washington State to score early on in the game.
Wazoo to score a touchdown's been in the plus almost the entire game, but that has not worked out the last 2 drives. So,
well, I mean, that goes back to what we said. It's encouraging at least that this team isn't laying down. I think with some CSU teams in the past, when situations have gotten tough, we would have seen those Rams teams just kind of lay down. We haven't really seen that at any point so far this year. Now, hopefully that's able to keep up. I mean, if the losses start stacking up, the poor performances keep stacking up, it's a little bit harder to stay together. But, I mean, I like that we've at least seen some of that early on, just that process of learning how to battle through the punches and fight through the adversity, because it's just been a Rams team that has not done that in quite some time. I think that's really been the key difference between them and some of the other teams that have seen success over the last half decade. It hasn't necessarily been a lack of talent. I mean, when you look at the players that CSU sent to the NFL, when you look at the potential of some of these guys, I don't think CSU fans are crazy for thinking that it should have been better, but they've underperformed now for quite some time, and Norvell's trying to change all that. It's going to take some time, though. I definitely am disappointed with what we've seen in this first month so far. I wouldn't really blame Ram fans for feeling the same. But, like some of the things we've said, I mean, it's encouraging that they're fighting. I do think there are things we've seen with the offense that have popped that if they could establish some consistency in pass protection, there's room to work with. But
wow. Sending it.
Trying to make a play there. Bad throw by Clay Millen gets picked off. Washington State going to start over with the ball. 9:45 or so left in the third quarter.
That was a choice right there.
I mean, it's 4th and 5. Not a ton you can do, but it kind of looked like
just going to your guy, making a play.
He kind of predetermined that one, it seemed like. And that's
honestly, if that throws closer,
you got a shot at a flag.
To Horton, you've got a shot at getting a PI there. You really do. Because that corner wasn't turning around at all.
No, and I mean, it's underthrown, and that's, one of the things we talked about. Sometimes we jump on the quarterback trying to throw at balls. A lot of times it works out in your favor because you end up drawing a flag. That time the safety's able to make a play on the ball. Tough. I mean, essentially ends up being a punt.
I like the talent on D, though. Back to what you were saying earlier. I mean, I thought Mose played well. DJ had a play there in coverage where he was just in a bad spot, but he's had some moments. I mean, shit, Jack Howells looked really good. He's really hustled and been, all over the place.
I mean, they popped at times. We saw some moments in that first half where Cam Ward was just able to make some phenomenal throws.
Oh, that
might be it.
Ooh.
That was close to being in the grass.
Is this a safety? Safety. The odds on that would have been really good at DraftKings. These flash props are amazing.
I think that's a safety, man.
It's going to be this close, dude.
I'm not sure you can overturn it, but...
Oh, man. And we still never got a good look at that second touchdown where maybe the Wazoo wide receiver's outside left foot goes out of bounds before the right foot goes inbounds. Man, that was so close. 3rd and 6, though, just running it into the line, huh? That's some respect right there from Wazoo.
Conservative play call from the Cougars. You're up 31-0, deep in your own territory. Probably not trying to press some things, turn it over here.
I know, but take the ball out of Ward's hand all of a sudden?
Especially with how good he's looked.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable.
It's a bit of an interesting decision there. But I guess if you're the coach here, I mean, you're looking at what your defense has done, and that's definitely been the strength of this Washington State unit through the first couple of games, is you're just kind of banking on them getting another stop. You know, don't put your defense in a bad spot here. Try and force something unnecessarily. If it's a closer game, I think you probably see a little bit more aggression from the Washington State coaching staff.
Yeah, good point.
31-0.
Oh, man.
Tough break on the bounce. It's just been one of those games for CSU. The punts, the balls, the bounce have not gone your way for CSU.
Early on. Oh
it's been rough, guys. I mean, Patty Turner has not looked very good in these last couple of weeks. It's been confusing because it has really not looked that bad in practice. I mean, obviously there was going to be a drop off going from the NCAA's all-time leader in average in Ryan Stonehouse to this, but you can't be putting your defense in these spots over and over again where you're having to defend a short field, because it's just too tough in modern football. All the rules favor offense anyways. If you do this, it's just going to be brutal.
To get a field goal attempt right now, plus 950. Is that because the kicker's just done after that going wide left? All these flash props are amazing. Plus 105 to punt, plus 210 turnover on downs, turnover or safety, plus 275 a touchdown. What's the play on DraftKings right now?
I mean, the value, if you're getting punt at plus money based on what we've seen, I mean, that's probably the play. I know it hasn't hit the last couple of times.
I know, but the field position's so good. Do they even punt it anymore?
I think it's going to be kind of a situational thing. You know, if you have an opportunity, it's 4th and 3, 4th and 4, you're probably going for it. If it's 4th and 8, 4th and 10, probably punting because you're down 31-0, just trying to not have the score get out of hand here at that point. Somewhat playing for pride.
Those live odds have been so fun. It's just tough on the CSU side. It's really tough to know what to go with on those flash props with CSU.
Well, it's just like the struggle of, do I try and capitalize on this moment and, you know, fade my team, make some money potentially, or, you know, hope that things are able to smooth out here down the stretch. I mean, got 23 minutes of game time left.
People pissed that they didn't take a timeout there, Justin, to review the safety.
It was close. I mean, it would have been nice to get a booth review. I'm not mad at Norvell for not trying to push the issue or anything like that.
That's fair.
I mean, it's one of those, I think if they rule it a safety, it probably stands. I don't know if there was enough to overturn it, but I also don't know if they had enough to rule it a safety based on what we saw there.
Screw it. I'm sprinkling something on plus 950 to get a field goal attempt. Don't need to make it.
You don't even need a touchdown.
Just a field goal attempt.
You only need the attempt. The value's there.
I can't believe the live line's just 34 points right now either.
That's a little surprising. I imagine some of that is just kind of predicated on the belief that Washington State's going to, you know, kind of try and sit on the clock here. You're up 31-0 and not going to try and push it too much.
Have they figured him out defensively? Nice run there.
That's another thing that's at least been somewhat encouraging. You know, in the second and third quarter, the run game's gotten going a little bit better.
That's why you stick to it.
No Ajon Vivens today. He was in a boot in practice. Not sure
Brutal.
how serious that's going to be. We'll have to see kind of in the next week or so.
Yeah,
definitely
brutal.
Man. It was close.
I know.
I thought it was a safety too. We got some people in the chat that are definitely upset they didn't at least review it.
Needed it. Yeah, I don't know.
They got the stats up right now.
This flag doesn't help.
What do we get? Delay game?
There goes my field goal attempt. Must be a hold, right? Yeah. Yeah, that's a shame. But first down. Let's see what Clay's got in him. Clay, again, I thought has been really smooth with his decisions aside from just that YOLO ball on 4th and 5.
And even then, I
understand
it wasn't great, but
I understand
essentially just trying to make a play at that point.
In retrospect, I'd have it back. They seem to have figured out some things on the hot routes too, though, you know?
Yeah, I mean, they don't look completely overwhelmed out there like they did at times in the first quarter. Small things, but encouraging to see just in terms of the progress of the season.
Oh.
That's a tough drop. You got to hang on to that if you're tied.
Man, that was a beautiful pass by Clay.
Nice throw, drops it over the linebacker underneath the safety. And those are the plays you got to make. And that's, again, what Norvell's talked about with some of these other receivers is, the offense has struggled to get some of these guys in the mix, and some of that has been on pass protection. At times it's been on Millen for holding on to the football too long. Some of that's just been on these guys, failing to take advantage of opportunities. And obviously,
that was on the money.
He took a big shot. That
was on the money. Bless you.
But you got to hold on to that if you're tired.
Yeah, you have to.
It's a huge play, 20 yards to move the sticks.
Everything you can get right now.
And now you're staring at 3rd and long, which is just a situation that CSU's been in far too frequently. Now,
come on.
Either delay a game or a false start. I mean, that's brutal.
That's the right tackle, too. I mean,
yeah, your backup in there, Owen Snively. It's rough. It's looking like a team that's inexperienced, unfortunately.
Punt that plus money, though. You're right about that. I tell you, though, Clay, he's navigating the pocket well. He's thrown some feathery balls over the middle. He's been nice, man.
The arm talent's there.
No doubt.
I felt like there were moments, maybe in that first half where he was feeling some ghosts, and that's to be expected after the last couple of weeks and how the first couple of series went there.
This Wazoo front's amazing.
They're legit.
They were incredible against Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's the tough part is, Middle Tennessee, they're getting pressure home essentially every snap, but they're also blitzing 80% of this time.
Yeah.
The Washington State front, they don't need to do that. They can play coverage. And when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback there, they're getting home without even bringing pressure. At times they're bringing 5, but it's not like they have to bring 6, 7 consistently to get after him. And that's a brutal spot, especially when you're already kind of on your heels a little bit as a young quarterback anyways, and maybe not extremely confident in the way that the offense is going.
Do you know who's in charge of the protections? Are those coming from the sideline? Is that the quarterback? Is that
It's a little bit of both. It's a little bit of both. You got the experienced linemen, hopefully, calling out checks, but a lot of that's on Millen too, to identify what's happening. And again, you come back to why these reps are valuable even in a blowout. It's just being out there against another team, getting a chance to read a defense at the line of scrimmage, adjust in a play, all of that stuff. It's valuable, even when it's frustrating and you're down 31-0.
He's been way better after those first couple drives.
Yeah, he's been more composed. Clay is not the reason that they're down big in this game.
Yeah, no doubt. I like what I've seen. I think I've seen some real progression in the game and from at least the Michigan game. No. I was going to ask Justin what the play is here. Washington plus 145 to score a tud, plus 155 punt, and then in the plus 400s, turnover or field goal attempt.
I like the punt just in terms of, I imagine they're going to be somewhat conservative. We've seen the defense hold up a little bit, but also the defense has been on the field a long time now, and it might be some value in trying to
get that touchdown at plus value. Yeah, I feel you. All that at DraftKings Sportsbook. These live lines have been incredible. The NFL's opening week was action-packed, and it's just getting started. Get ready for week 2 of touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, unofficial betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can get $5 on any football game. That's college as well, and get $200 in free bets instantly. Want more action? They've got the early win promotion on DraftKings. So if you bet that Chargers money line on Thursday Night Football and they went up 7-0, you got that. In week 2, it's going to be if you go up, the team that you bet the money line on goes up by 10. That's going to hit your bank account instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use that promo code DNVR to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code DNVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and restrictions apply. See show notes for details on that.
We got a question here in the comment from Grant. Why did Dante Wright not get any playing
Yeah,
time?
I wanted to ask
I was
about
surprised to see him transfer. Admittedly, I was surprised to see Dante not play more. He got 8 total snaps in the first 2 weeks. Decided to enter decided to leave the team. He can't officially enter the transfer portal until December based on the windows. No longer with the team. I had a chance to ask Jay about it on Wednesday. Didn't dive into the specifics as far as what his conversation with Dante went. But, kind of reading between the lines of what he said is ultimately it sounds like the staff felt like they were honest with what they felt like they needed to see out of the receivers, didn't necessarily see it from Dante, and as a result, he wasn't playing. It's, again,
weird,
I am
man.
Surprised that he did not play more. I also think it's a situation where the receiver room is significantly deeper than it's been at any point in his career. I mean, Norvell was pretty honest right off the bat at his introductory press conference about, favoring receivers that are big, tall, strong, athletic guys. Same thing goes with defensive backs. That doesn't exactly fit Dante. And then
But with the
Melquan
lack of depth
Stoppel-
at running back, they couldn't have kind of put him back in that role. Oh, shit. And they break a big one.
It's a fair question. I do think there are opportunities and ways you could have taken advantage of Dante's skill set. Obviously didn't happen, but again, I just think it's tough to do much of anything offensively when the offensive line has been as bad as they've been these last couple of weeks. And
Yeah, fair.
I think if they would have...
Oh, Mo's got that.
Mo
Oh,
Kamara.
beautiful.
Guy's a stud. 3rd sack in
He
3
really
games.
is, man.
Could have had 2 or 3 in the first half where he was able to get after the QB. Cam Ward make some nice plays.
Unlike all but 5 other quarterbacks in Division I football, he has 3 sacks in this game.
Very likely, yeah. He's had a really solid game. Cam Ward's solid, man. He's tough to rattle. We've seen the way he's been able to improvise. Got
He's
some Kyler
good,
Murray to his game.
Yeah.
It's great under duress. His second touchdown pass, he had Mo all in his face, and he's able to drop a dime over the DB's hands in the corner of the end zone.
He gets it out quick.
He's looked great. A little bit undersized, but he's made some...
Oh, here comes Mo again. And you got him.
Another sack.
Back-to-back sacks. Incredible. Does seem like Ward's holding on to the ball a little more.
A little bit, yeah. He's not getting the ball.
He was so impressive with how quickly he was getting it out in the first half, including that touchdown with Mo all over his face, and he just knows he's got one-on-one outside and just lets it fly. Now it seems like he's more picking his spots, trying not to make a mistake. This defense, though,
They're not laying down.
towards the end of the second, they've kind of turned this around. They've figured some things out. They're still giving up some big plays here and there, but they've figured things out, man.
It's just tough when you're on the field all game, and then right off the bat, you have to defend back-to-back short fields. Washington State, their first 2 possessions, took the ball at midfield, and
Oh, that was brutal.
you're putting your defense in a horrible spot at that point. In the modern game, it's going to be tough to win if you're only having to defend 40, 50 yards at a time.
Yeah, for sure.
Mo Kamara, though, he's flashed early on in the season. NFL edge rusher potential. Dude, really, really versatile. The stuff that I like about him is that he's able to get after the QB in a variety of different ways. He's not one of those guys that, relies solely on the ghost rush, solely on a bull rush.
Man.
But he is strong as hell. And when you see that, it's great to see. It's just they need that more consistently. I do think that there is talent in this back end. I think that the secondary, they have an ability to create some turnovers, but you got to get after the quarterback, get him to throw some bad passes up, and we just have not seen enough of that consistently in the first 11-ish quarters of football here.
Looking like they're going to bring extra pressure. We'll see if they're if this is a dummy blitz or if they're actually bringing. No, that was a delay on maybe a spy. Got a tackle. Nice tackle.
Probably going to go for it here on 4th and short.
It's still going to be 4th and 8, right?
At least
5. 4th and 7. It does look like they're going for it. We're just seeing the sideline. Yep, they're definitely going for it. Ward pointing at his nips. Could have got a turnover on downs in the plus 400s here.
4th and 7. There's a big opportunity again.
Huge, man.
It's little moments again. That the outcome of this game is more than decided at this point, but you have an opportunity to get off the field.
That
feel
off
good about
coverage
yourself.
outside is where I'd go if I'm Ward. And it does look like they're bringing extra pressure. Nice tackling.
tackle.
Nice tackling.
Got off the
Dude.
field. I mean, it's again, they're not laying down. And
It's 4
if you want
drives.
to
The
feel good
defense
about
has done
anything,
their
it's
thing.
that.
Yep. Yeah, please do. Could you pass me my water? All right. Justin's going to go relieve himself. And we are going to look at live bets. Spread remains at 34. Am I crazy for taking the Rams plus 34? Chat, how we feeling about this? We need a touchdown. Something's got to happen. Yeah, here we've got saying, I know it's 31-0 game, but you have to criticize the coaching staff there for not calling a timeout to get a review. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Clay Millen. Oh, there's Horton getting loose. An opportunity outside to get that. Jay's trying to get him to hurry up. See if you can get some rhythm here. I like Clay Millen, man. I like what I've seen. Also, this Washington State team, I've said it once, I'll say it again, might actually be good. Middle Tennessee is the albatross, but, man, Michigan, Washington State, wouldn't be surprised if those teams are both ranked in the top 15 come Thanksgiving. Actually might have to check out this Wazoo schedule here in a sec. Jeez, Justin breaking all records. F1 pit stop style. Tori had a great just quick catch on the outside. Ate up some off coverage and gone. So they're out midfield here.
It'd be big to put some points on the board here just going into next week if they could make it respectable.
Oh, boy.
Oof.
Jeez. So is this the center's first start? Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Actually, not many issues with the snaps aside from that one. Clay looks a little banged up there.
He's
Ouch.
just taken so many shots these last couple of weeks.
Yeah, man, that's not great.
You worry about his health at some point. That'd be the only
That is
argument
not
I could.
great.
No.
Oof. 3rd and 10 here.
See what they can do.
Yeah, 4 wide. Are they just not going to use tight ends here?
Kind of seems that way. We've not seen a ton of Tanner Arkin on the field.
Well, that seemed like a classic short throw.
Looked like they were trying to pick half of it up.
Yep, exactly.
Not going to have a lot of
man.
success when you let Deion Henley go untouched at the quarterback.
No. No, you're really not.
Another former Nevada guy ends up at Washington State under Brian Ward, former Nevada defensive coordinator. There was some familiarity between these two sides, just given that both run the air raid, both run a 4-2-5 defense. Norvell hoping that some of that would play in CSU's favor. Not exactly the case so far.
Yeah. That's not what you want there.
Don't love that decision from Clay. I understand he's trying to get rid of the football, got to have the short clock, been taking a lot of shots, but I mean, 4th and 9, dumping it off at the line of scrimmage, you're just not really going to have a lot of opportunities to be successful there. It's
not good.
Tough to do much. I mean, that's been the story for CSU all day. They flash for moments. They flash for, a couple of instances to move the chains a couple of times, but it just not nearly enough. And it's been a story that's been all too common for CSU these first couple of weeks.
Yeah, for sure.
It's tough to get excited when, every drive you start to feel good and then it just stalls. But again, this Washington State defense is really good. They're going to be one of the best in the Pac-12, essentially single-handedly propelled the Cougars to a win, at Wisconsin.
Yeah.
I do credit Cam Ward for not killing them in the crunch time, but I mean, there were some turnovers in that game too. It's not like they played perfectly. It was just an instance of them kind of going into Madison and matching Wisconsin's physicality, which is a testament to this team, because we've seen with Pac-12 programs and facing some of the other Big Ten, SEC powerhouses, they've kind of crumbled. But this team's good. They're going to have an opportunity to make some noise, I think, after.
Oh, great tackle. Great tackle.
Nice play by Taiwan.
Man.
Blow up a little dump screen. Again, this defense is playing hard.
Playing great.
It's 31-0. And I understand the fans that are like, really, man, you're pointing out a tackle for loss when you're down 31-0. But
not
this
at all,
is the stuff you want to see. I mean, this is the little moments in a game that add up. And obviously they've got to start doing this for 4 quarters. But again, it's really hard to fault this defense for the position that they've been for 11 straight quarters, which is essentially playing with their backs against the wall every single snap.
Yeah.
You're usually having to defend a short field, whether it's off a poor punt or a turnover. It's just hard to be consistently successful that way. I have liked what I've seen, though, from an effort standpoint. And
yeah, absolutely.
Oh!
Almost a turnover there.
Twice the second half, we've seen the pass rush get home and be able to strip Cam Ward. That's all encouraging, man. You do this stuff in some of these coming games, and, that's another thing that I want to remind the fans of is just the fact that even if you start 0-3 here, which is not the position you wanted to be in, realistically, I think most people were expecting 1-2 coming into the year. So, yes, you dropped that Middle Tennessee game. You have to find a way to win at home against Sacramento State. It's a good program. I'm not going to talk down about them. I'll talk about all their strengths throughout the week. It's a team that's very competitive in the FCS. You have to win it at home, though. And after that, you've got some winnable games in the Mountain West. Utah State, Nevada, we'll kind of see how that – or Nevada, then Utah State, we'll see how that plays out. But, they've looked pretty inconsistent at best these last couple of weeks. And after that, you've got Hawaii coming to town who's – that's a struggle. They had to replace more than anybody in the country. So you do have some winnable games coming up, some opportunities to potentially right the ship, make this season somewhat respectable.
That's what's crazy.
It's the perspective you have to keep if you're a Ram fan, and just understand the fact that the Mountain West is not great. You were in a tough spot playing a pair of Power 5 road games in your first year with 56 new players, new systems on both sides of the ball.
Oh, geez.
That's kick-catch interference.
That was nuts. Wazoo not looking nearly as good in the second half. So credit to the Rams for doing that. Probably pitching a shutout here in the second half. Or in the third, rather. Yeah,
it's been a lot better. There's been some subbing going on. Not all these guys are the starters, but if you're CSU, it's just what you got to do.
Still in?
Take advantage. Yeah, and the starting defense. We're still seeing a lot of these playmakers out there.
Yeah, Haney's playing special teams. Come on now.
You need some points here. If you could end this game, lose 31-14 or something, at least you have something to feel good about going into next week. Again, it's a results business, not necessarily any such thing as a moral victory when you spend this much on these sports, but it's going to take a process.
Slow gains. Yeah, it's a process. They really need some positive momentum on offense, though, to end this game. That'd be huge. And also to just build off of what they've done defensively and be like, look, it's going to be another air raid team in 2 weeks against Nevada. You guys played really well against Washington State. You know how to stop this offense. What else can you do? And they can get home with 4 people.
And that's encouraging. When you're playing the 4-2-5, you can get home with 4. You've got a plethora of defenders there in the secondary to potentially make plays. It's just playing complementary football, and some of that has to do with the offense complementing the defense, but some of that has to do with position groups within the same system complementing each other. The pass protection, complementing the offense. If you're the defense, it's the pass rush complementing the secondary, and vice versa.
Yeah.
We see instances where they pop. We see the pass rush get home. We see moments where they've been able to connect with the passing offense. It's just that consistency, and it takes time. It takes time when you're transitioning from a ground and pound meathead style football to a finesse passing offense. And again, I think
huge change.
I think some of it just has to do with expectations and the fact that CSU fans kind of had an idea in their head of what this air raid looks like, and that's because Nevada had, really just stomped CSU from an offensive perspective these last couple of years. But it doesn't work like that in year one.
Different.
Yeah.
Like, it's all different. Clay Millen over the middle of the field, though. Loving the accuracy and timing he's shown.
He can make throws that we just have not seen Colorado State quarterbacks be able to
Yep.
make consistently since Garrett Grayson. And again, you know, some of it, there are times where he holds on to the ball too long, and he's forced some things, but that's what's going to happen when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback and you're not particularly protecting him very well. He's going to feel some ghosts. He's going to force some things. He's going to try and do a little too much, but it's just tough to fault him. He's a competitive guy out here trying to make plays. You know that the goal of the offense is to be a vertical passing team, to be aggressive, and you're thinking, like, I got to do some of this or we're not doing it right.
Yeah. But that verticality comes off of, like, you've got the defense thinking so much, like, east and west on quick hitters that all of a sudden a guy gets let loose deep, you know, or
well, it's a good point.
Horton gets a one-on-one deep, and then that comes through. Like,
that's why all that stuff's so important, you know, being able to hit on some of those quick screens, crossing routes, just get the defense to come up a little bit, and, you know, then you can get a receiver. You know, you have those DBs second guessing, they come in a little bit, all of a sudden they're 2 steps behind, you beat them over the top. But if you can't establish anything underneath, if you can't protect the quarterback, if you can't get some of that easy dump stuff, crossing routes, if you can't run the football, tough to set any of that vertical stuff up. And that's been CSU's problem. They've been able to connect on a couple of vertical shots here and there, but they haven't really been able to get in rhythm consistently offensively. And until they're able to do that, we're not going to see this offense be what it's supposed to be.
yeah, I mean, for sure. And going into the fourth, this drive, the shortest odds is for it to end in a turnover on downs or safety, plus 155. Punt, plus 170. Touchdown, plus 215. Field goal, plus 850. All those odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, the presenting sponsor of this here watch along. You got a leaning one way or another?
I mean, I would say the smart money is still probably to bet on a punt until we see otherwise. But
I mean, yeah, the plus 170 is juicy, huh?
But I mean, we have seen the offense click a little bit, you know, able to move the chains at times down the stretch of the second quarter and then into that third quarter.
I know that one touchdown's coming, just like with Michigan.
That's the thing.
It's just what drive will it happen on? What drive, Justin? Oh, God.
False start.
Oh, man. It's just tough. Tough with 2 new starting offensive tackles. That's a real tough recipe for success.
You're already in a tough spot when you come into the year with 5 new starters. Now in week 3, you're at essentially 7 new starters with the way that things have shifted. And they don't look like a team that has much continuity. I mean, they just don't look comfortable out there. And it's a lot of sloppy mistakes, false starts, you know, instances where the gaps are just not solid. You know, too many uncontested rushes at the quarterback.
Yeah, they really struggle to pick up the blitz and pick up extra rushers. Oh, man. There you go. Clay trying to make something happen. Stay on your feet, kid. Stay on your feet. I'd like to point out, since we started this watch-along, it's 0-0. Anyone's game. Who will win the watch-along? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we didn't throw our 4s up, Justin. 4, baby. It's that time. This is our time right now. All right, 3rd and 10.
Really like to see Clay avoid being on the turf here.
Yeah. Great. No. Great. Come on. Break 1 tackle. There you go. There you go. There you go. Now we're talking. We're talking.
Let's see. I mean, you've gotten to this point 2 or 3 times in the game. You've been able to essentially get to the Washington State 30. It's stalled every time. You know, here's an opportunity to just kind of build on what you've done so far today and put some points on the board. Again, it's 31-0. You know, I'm not trying to be that
Clay,
guy.
man.
Like,
It's good protection. He extends it with his feet. He waits for a guy to come open, and boom. All you have to do is break 1 tackle. Thomas is able to do that. Here we go. Within the 30. And look, all these runs are basically awful, but it keeps them honest. It keeps you on balance. It keeps a certain rhythm. It's what was so frustrating about that Michigan game was all these quick 3-and-outs and was just like, man, this D is doomed. Like they have no chance.
I mean,
Here at least
with this offensive line, if you expect them to drop back in pass protection 60 times a game, it's not going to go well.
It's a disaster.
And so some of these, it's kind of just taking it with a grain of salt.
Oh boy.
You got to hold on to the ball if you're Clay there.
We've seen some loose balls today, all recovered by the team who fumbled it.
Pocket collapsed on him. He's trying to make a play.
Yeah, I mean, Thomas just gets there, and they kind of collide. Was that snap not quite clean?
It was a little high.
Yeah. And that's been another problem in this game. A couple times, snaps have kind of got him out of shotgun. This is the same old, though. We're going to try and get half of it back to get him fourth and manageable here.
Yeah, I imagine a screen, a draw, something underneath. Just get rid of the ball quickly.
Okay, they're able to avoid the blitz. Nice. Outside shoulder. That's great. That's exactly what you're hoping for right there. Oh, boy, what's this flag going to be?
Holding, maybe.
Yes, this is a big flag. This is a big flag. Oh, wow. That's huge, man. Targeting on Wazoo. Oh, they're calling it. Yep. Oh, man.
That'll stand.
Rough.
That's the worst penalty in football,
That is just the worst.
Look, like, by the letter of the law, that is targeting. He dropped the head. He hit him helmet to helmet. I think it should be a 15-yard penalty.
Ejecting kids is so fucking
and he's going to be
brutal.
suspended the first half of next game.
Man.
It's just, it's already such a difficult position when you're in this secondary. You got guys, they dip, trying to avoid the tackle, and then, I don't know, I just think expecting some of these guys to adjust on the fly is such a tall task.
100%. Now, that is the kind of thing you're trying to avoid. As guys already being held up, he doesn't need an extra hit to the dome. I'm also not sure what we're reviewing. It kills the momentum of games. Like, that was textbook. Like, let's keep it moving. Come on, letter of the law. We know what we're doing. Let's keep it moving here. I don't want to jinx it, but I think this is the drive, Justin. This is the drive. Though this is the kind of team you worry about getting too close to the end zone because that short game is gonna get you a little bit.
Well, that's the thing. Most of CSU's touchdowns have been, 30-plus yards over the top so far. I think they've only had one red zone touchdown so far this season.
Oh, I believe it. It's just how this offense is structured. Like, what do you expect?
Long review, instant replay, not so instant these days.
Yeah, not really. Checking what people are saying on Twitter, before I call it.
This is where we need to just have somebody up top reviewing. Why is it the on-field official? Just have somebody in charge of this.
Completely agree.
Go down on the mic. Yes, no, it stands. No, it's reversed. Yeah. Whatever.
I mean, there's no media availability to the refs anyway, so who cares,
A lot of this just feels like it's theater. Like, we got to look at the ref standing on the sideline, reviewing the play, going through the process.
That's like so
clear cut. Overturned, I guess, since it's 4th and 5.
You're kidding me. Because he lowered his head? What?
To me, that's about as textbook as it gets as far as targeting goes. Again, I don't love the
kidding
call,
me?
but when that is the rule, that is what happened.
He's being held up and he gets blasted in the head, and we're not going to call that?
Nice play by Clay. Step up,
Clay,
make a throw.
man, over the middle. He's money.
Washington State's playing coverage. They haven't been, quite as
He's
aggressive here in the second
money.
half. But that's what you got to do if you're Clay, is recognize that. Don't force it. You have time. Wait for the play to develop. Allow an opportunity for Torrey Horton to get open down the field and, move the sticks here. Get 15 yards. Now you're on an opportunity. You're inside the 10-yard line. Put some points on the board. Again, It's 31-0. This has been rough. But these are the moments you build off. These are the key moments for these young teams of just learning how to work through the difficulties of a game and battle through adversity.
You get points. You'll be leading the half 7-0. Just a throwaway there. Oh, man. He had him wide open on the flats there. Wide open. Okay.
Second and goal from the 9, 11:15 left.
Some sort of.
False start.
Oh, boy.
Moving the wrong way. This is where it's brutal. You miss a throw. Now you got a pre-snap penalty, and all of a sudden your second and goal at the 9 is second and goal from the 15. And
yeah.
that's killer.
Yeah. A little agitation on the sideline there. Didn't love that. Did not love that. Yeah, and I mean, it sucks you missed that throw. You had you had a guy wide open right in front of the end zone. Jeez, that's a tud right there.
True freshman, Justice Ross Simmons, a guy that's really flashed in camp. That's what you want to see.
That was great. Clay hung in so tough there, like a badass. And they are bringing extra pressure. He just gets it out on time. He sees one-on-one coverage. His ball placement has been fantastic.
The arm talent is there, man. It's legit.
Man, touchdown could have been had at nice odds there. Plus
we talked about it. You said at the beginning of the drive, you said you felt like it was the one.
That was the one. It's also sometimes tough to jump on these live, but that was great. Credit to the Rams there. Great play there. Great play by Clay. All right. Just a reminder, all these live odds I've been talking about, you can find those all at DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook in all the land right now. With football back, they are extra hyped and giving new users all sorts of insane offers, including new users right now can bet just $5 on any football game, college or the NFL, and get $200 in free bets instantly. Don't have to hit that bet. You'll just get $200 in free bets. Booyah, right off the bat for signing up and placing a football bet. Want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's even old DraftKings heads like Justin and I tomorrow. It's as simple as this Sunday: bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code DNVR only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details.
Sweet promotion from our friends over at DraftKings.
You know it, man.
It's an opportunity. I mean, sometimes you can, if you hit it right, like in that Chargers-Chiefs game, you can hit the money line twice. Hit the Chargers while they're up 10, get paid out immediately, and then hit the Chiefs money line when the momentum starts to shift. It's fun. Nobody makes games more fun than our partners over at DraftKings Sportsbook.
It's true.
Especially games you're not particularly emotionally invested in. Nothing better than having some sweet action on a game and getting way too emotionally invested in an opportunity or in a game between like a Sun Belt team and the MAC or something. Who knows?
Yeah, man.
Maction time.
Sports enhancing drugs. So true. I mean, Justin, if they win back-to-back second halves, how do we feel about that? Do we not care?
No, I think you do have to care, because I think that's evocative of making progress just in terms of the type of culture you have within that locker room. Look, guys, the hope was to be 1-2. You're 0-3. It's not like the expectation was to be 3-0 and you're 0-3. Yeah. You just have to look through this with a realistic lens and understand exactly how big of a transition this was from Adazio to Norvell. You have 56 new players, guys. New sides on both sides, new systems on both sides of the ball. Like, that just does not happen very often.
An NFL roster's worth.
Yeah, literally an entire new team.
It's absurd, man.
So it's been rough. It's been frustrating. They've looked like a team that's inexperienced. They've looked like a team that's been outmatched physically. But also, like, again, I genuinely do think Washington State and Michigan are good teams. So it's just one of those where it's like, yes, it's 0-3. Middle Tennessee was bad. I guess I'm going to feel a lot worse if you're 0-4 after Sacramento State. I mean, I think if you can build off some of these positives, potentially get a home win, again, you've got a pretty favorable slate to begin conference play. Nevada lost to Incarnate Ward at home. Yep. Utah State lost by 28 to Weber State at home. Yep. Those are your first two conference opponents. And after that, you got Hawaii, who, again, has really struggled out of the gate.
Yeah, and how good's Nevada look?
Not great.
Yeah, I mean, and, you know, Wyoming gets the upset. They haven't been great. Air Force maybe a little more beatable than we thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think you feel better about the Air Force matchup after that game, but I also think it's an instance where we can't get too... In a sport where the results are as wonky as they are in college football, I think it's easy to get swept up in 1 week and, you know, oh, Wyoming's great now. Well, we're 2 weeks removed from them throwing for 30 yards against Illinois, and everyone's saying they're going to go 1-11.
Right.
It's just a weird sport, and when your conference is as open as the Mountain West is this year,
boy,
good open field tackle. You know, you're going to get some weird results.
Well, and I mean, if this team's progressing the way they are in 4 quarters against Washington State, how much progress are we going to see in 4 weeks?
That's the hope,
in 8 weeks, you know? Yeah. How much different is this team going to look come November?
Well, and that's what you're hoping. You know, again, to go back to the 2012 parallels and Jim McElwain, that team started 1-6. They finished 3-2 over the final 5, and then obviously they go into 2013. And again, there were some hiccups in that season too. They lost a tight one at Tulsa on the road, lost by 20 to San Jose State in the first conference game of the season. They respond after that and ultimately end up, you know, finishing really hot down the stretch. You beat Washington State in an insane bowl game. And then in 2014, you're rolling. And obviously that's the hope if you're CSU is that, you know, by the end of this season, you're pretty good. And then you're able to, you know, kind of parallel that into some success going into next season. You obviously got a big game at CU in Boulder. You got Washington State coming to Fort Collins. I mean, there's an opportunity to pick up some, you know, premier P5 wins next season. And, I mean, the hope is obviously that you're able to establish some success going into that point and then obviously keep your players. That's, I mean, in the transfer
that's going to be huge.
That's a big question. But
that's also why progressing is really important.
Yeah, show that you're building and that you are going somewhere.
Yes, so then you can be invested in, you know, I like the direction I'm going in, then starting off anew, struggling again early in the season, and then who knows how it goes from there. They're calling like a horse collar here?
I believe so. Looks like a personal foul.
I mean, re-seeing...
Ineligible.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go. Dominant Rams performance in the second half. Just Washington State cannot hang on the field.
Look, guys, we're making jokes, but it really is encouraging.
Well, it's
that
a
they're
great
not laying
showing,
down.
yes.
Because, look, man, we watched that CU game in the first half, and again, I think it's a little bit lazy when CSU fans are, well, at least we're not as bad as you, but I mean, that team laid down. We haven't seen CSU do that at any point so far this season. 34-0
Yeah, I mean, they're
at home
down
at Middle
to
Tennessee.
throwing in Owen McCown, the freshman quarterback, you know? Like,
true.
we were seeing that. I mean, that's just like a desperation move, and that's 3 years into their head coaching.
Yeah,
their
at least you
head
have hope
coach's
if you're
tenure,
CSU
right?
fans.
And you're not seeing that progress. And that was a program that was really high because the early returns, year one, were like, oh, wow, all right. We're doing some things.
But again, you know, coming back to the idea of establishing sustained success and building a program the right way, I mean, you can catch fire.
Dude, it's the only way you're going to win in this state, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Other than Jack Howell.
Jack Howell, MVP.
Run it back, baby. Playmaker.
Oh, man.
That's my favorite Ram, guys. I love Jack Howell.
Second half dominance. Is he really just a sophomore?
True sophomore.
My God. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was starting to think Cam Ward was like a sneaky legit NFL prospect after the first half. They have really humbled him in the second half here. This is impressive. This is a team that beat Wisconsin just a week ago and was humming in the first half. This is not like, oh, we caught them on a down week, sleeping, underestimating. They came out hot, and in the second half, you've made the adjustments and could be leading the second half by double digits in just a few here. Oh, man.
Get out of bounds.
Clay Millen, man. That escapability.
He's a competitor, man. I love
He
it.
is.
Like, I get the frustration with holding onto the ball too long at times, and it's definitely negatively hurt this team at moments, but I'll take that. A quarterback trying to make plays when things are going wrong versus
In a
guy
new
that's
offense, come on, man. You're going to have to hold on to the ball a little longer sometimes. Like, everyone's not going to have, like, fifth-year senior processing speed the second they step on campus.
Give me that over check down Charlie any day of the week. That's how you progress within a system. You can dump it down all day and inflate your stats, but that's not how you actually get better as an offense. And we're seeing this offense work through the struggles, but actually still trying to accomplish what they would like to do, which is being a vertical passing offense. And again, that's not something that you can do perfectly in one summer.
No.
Not when you have a redshirt freshman quarterback and all new starting receivers and 5 new starters on your offensive line, and now it's 7 new starters because it's shifted since week 1.
And frankly, not the greatest offensive line to start with.
Exactly. It wasn't great from the
You're
from the
lacking
get-go.
your starting running back here, and your run game's pretty raw. Like, there's a lot you're going to have to figure out there. I think they're bringing 5 at least. They're looking like they're going to bring 6.
Get rid of it.
Oh, man, get out the way. Get out the way. What's the right tackle doing there? I mean, screw it. It's 4th and manageable. Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's not.
You just hate seeing Clay getting all these hits, man.
They just add up, man, and at some point you worry about his health. You know, 12 games in a year, it's a long season.
Sure.
He's taken a beating these first 3 weeks.
When you want him to be somewhat healthy, somewhat clean coming into conference play where you said anything can happen, you know?
Exactly. That's your big fear here is just taking
4th and 5, though. This is huge. Snaps a little low. Oh, shit.
The interior just got blown up.
Yep.
That's
rough. That's rough. But this Wazoo front is no joke, man. It's no joke. Oh, man.
Walk-on running back out there.
Yeah.
Interesting that we have not seen David Bailey at all in this game. Will be kind of interesting to monitor his status on the roster moving forward. He was the only back that was able to get much going against Michigan. Granted, it was in garbage time. They gave him some early touches last week against Middle Tennessee, did nothing with him. I did not see him that I can recall in practice this week. That's not me reporting anything at this point in time. I don't remember seeing him out there at any point. But it is interesting given that you're down Ajon Vivens. You start this game with Avery Morrow. and Jalen Thomas gets some reps as well, and it's not David Bailey that's been the third back. It's definitely worth something keeping an eye on, moving forward. The fact that we're getting legitimate playing time from freshman Keegan Halls here. So
yeah, that's kind of unexpected.
Very unexpected.
You're getting asked about Trey McBride in Arizona, Justin.
What are we asking here?
Have you heard anything about Trey McBride in Arizona? I tried watching the game last week and never saw him on the field.
Trey was a healthy scratch last week in week 1, and it didn't make much sense. If you follow our partners out in Phoenix over at PHNX, it was definitely a big discussion point last week going into the game, and then throughout the last week was, that's a team that's down wide receivers. DeAndre Hopkins is out the first 6 weeks. Zach Ertz has been banged up a little bit. Why are we not trying to get our rookie tight end involved? I know Trey did battle some back injuries throughout camp. That could be a thing that's, potentially plaguing him a little bit. Yeah. Maybe he's a little behind the ball a little bit.
A lot of Zach Ertz snaps in week 1.
A lot of Zach Ertz snaps. But that's, again, that was the thing I talked about on the podcast that I just wanted to be very clear is just the realistic expectations for a tight end in year 1. It's a position that historically takes time to develop in. Even the best tight ends, George Kittle, Kelsey, they really didn't pop till year 3.
Yeah.
If you're, hoping that Trey McBride's going to come out year number 1 and go for like 1,400 yards, 10 touchdowns, probably not going to happen.
Especially in a 4-wide offense. And, week 1, they got humbled by the Chiefs. It wasn't exactly like, let's go to our rookie tight end. Yeah. Yep. Precisely.
Like, I'm not super high on Arizona this year. I've actually, my DraftKings pick of the week 2 weeks in a row has been betting on the opposing team to cover the spread against the Cardinals last week, the Chiefs, this week, the Raiders. That's more with me not being high on Kingsbury than it has, to do with, the talent on that team or the skill guys or anything like that.
It's why I've praised them sticking to the run game in this game, because it's easy for those air raid coaches to just go away from it. And then you get, like, the Cardinals getting destroyed against the Rams in the playoffs, where every Cardinals drive ended in 2 seconds.
Well, and then you're just compounding thing. That's how you lose a game 50-7 and lose your quarterback instead of, in quotations, respectable, 34-10 loss. It's just give yourself an opportunity. If you're struggling, if you're clearly outmatched, don't put your team in a position to where schematically, you're making it that much easier on a team to come at you.
Right, exactly.
I do credit Norvell a lot for recognizing how the tone of the game has gone the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely, man.
And staying true to their system, which, again, yes, you want to see results. You're trying to win these games, but realistically, you're trying to build the offense.
Yes, you're building something here.
It's not about, it's not about covering. It's not about, they're not like, we want to lose by less today. It's, look, we're worried more about how does the offense look in week 6, week 7 at this point than I am about did I score 21 or 14 against Washington State.
Absolutely. Yeah, and right now they're honestly, it kind of sucks they blew that Jack Howell turnover and don't have any points to show for it, because between that, the missed field goal, they'd be covering the spread. They'd be covering the spread.
31-17, that's respectable.
Oh, jeez, what a hole.
Tough.
Not what you like to see.
We can't give that up.
Sometimes the back sevens just allowed. There's been confusion on wide receivers. There's just been too big of gaps.
It hasn't seemed as bad as the last couple weeks. One thing I did notice, definitely against Michigan at times in the first half against Middle Tennessee, it seemed like some of the defensive play calls were coming in late. A lot of communication happening at the last second. Guys trying to adjust, and then all of a sudden they're snapping it, and you're like, wait, I'm still trying to make these adjustments. Again, though, some of that's just going to come with experience. You got a new side, new coordinator. He's not exactly in his bag. Like, all right, this is what I'm going to. Rocky Long, I know this is what I'm going to do.
Well, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm seeing, they're rotating some of the starters out on the front right now.
So much more. And that's going to be a big factor, I think, for this team's depth down the stretch, We saw the defense pop early on in the season last year, and that was great. But down the stretch, when the games really mattered, when you needed to be trying to win some of these games for bowl eligibility, they were a skeleton crew. They were just so thin because they're playing 80 to 85 snaps a game. We've talked to Freddie Banks about that multiple times, and he's not going to – these coaches are smart enough. They're not going to go on record and be like, what a dumb mindset that was from the last staff. But he essentially just laughed and was like, yeah, we're not going to play anybody that much because I don't know how you're expected to play your best football when you're playing 80 snaps a game. It's just impossible, especially for 12 weeks. Maybe you do it for 2-3 weeks at a time.
Totally. That's a big broken tackle on Jack Howell to get him into field goal position.
That was a tough one. He's had another good game. We're not going to harp on him from this play, but that's huge. You got less than 5 minutes here. It'd be nice if you could see the defense, stand strong one last time, keep Washington State out of the end zone.
Yeah,
again,
shut them out for the whole second half.
Little things to build upon moving forward. I think that's kind of the goal at this point when you're in this spot. Obviously, again, with the Mountain West being as open as it is, 6-6. I don't know if it's impossible, but based on what we've seen the first couple weeks, expecting 6-3 down the stretch, probably a tough spot to be in.
Yeah, I mean,
but who knows?
You never know.
Who knows? You get hot, like I said. If you can win at home next week against Sacramento State, you find a way to beat Nevada. All of a sudden, you're at 2-3, and you're like, well, we got homecoming against a mediocre Utah State team, and then Hawaii comes to town. Like, it really is not unrealistic to think that this team could start 0-3 and still somehow be
for sure
3-4, 4-3 after 7 weeks. And at that point, if you can steal a couple of games, you've got a shot. Again, I don't want to get too carried away. I think Wyoming had a hell of a game plan for Air Force last night.
Yeah.
I think that's a winnable game at home, though, as long as you're not getting completely blown up the line of scrimmage. If your offensive line is just even, competent, just middle of the road, slightly below average, you have enough talent at the skill positions at quarterback to make it interesting, to, get a couple touchdowns over the top. As tough as Wyoming is, are they going to be able to get 4 touchdowns? I don't know. It's tough to say.
Yeah, also, Clay Millens outplayed Cam Ward in the second half.
In the second half, yeah.
There's a lot of Mountain West quarterbacks he'll outplay for 4 quarters.
That's the other thing, is we got to recognize that it's a down year for the league. They're going through some growing pains. Clay has shown a lot to be excited about. Mm-hmm. Yes, there have been moments that have been frustrating, but that's to be expected with a young quarterback. What I like to see is that he seems to be learning from his mistakes. And he's not getting in his head when he has an interception. It's not an instance where he comes out on the next drive and the first throw you see, we got to stretch the field. We got to make up for that. We got to create a big play. He's in control as well as he can be, given the circumstances. And I like that. Again, it's all about the future at this point. I'm not going to tell CSU fans they shouldn't be frustrated by the fact that you're trailing by 24. It sucks. We'd like to see this program be at a point where they're competitive, and it's like 2014 and you go into Boston College and you beat a Power 5 team on the road. You're probably not going to go into Tuscaloosa and beat Bama, but to be able to beat the Boston Colleges, the Washington States of the world, that's a realistic mindset to have. I feel like if you're a CSU fan, if you keep building on this stuff. But
I mean, the second half has been way more enjoyable to watch, though, because they have been
absolutely.
They've hung with them. They're not just getting blown over. It's not like the first 4 drives where it was just touchdown, 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 punt, punt, punt. You're actually hanging with them,
Well, and it's just like I said, I want to see a team that refuses to lay down. Yes, it's disappointing that the results have been what they've been this first month, but the fact that they had that mindset's encouraging to me that, in a scenario in which they're playing even competition, things could go right. But they're a young team. They've looked like a young team. They played like a young team.
They're a young team that's figuring out how to play with each other.
We're seeing it. And again, I love that they're fighting. It's 0-3. It's been hard.
It's huge.
But I've covered a lot of bad CSU teams over the years, and not a lot of them would have kept fighting when it was a 30-point deficit. I can say that with a lot of confidence, and we've seen that 2 weeks in a row. Again, you got to stop going down 30 points. You have to get to a point, where you're not having to dig yourself out of these fucking holes every single week.
Building that early momentum on offense is really key.
Exactly.
And on defense. I mean, getting some positivity.
Get some points. Get a pick right off the bat. All of a sudden, it just feels so much different than going 3 and out and then putting your defense in a situation where they have to defend a short field.
2nd and 9. Just bouncing a run outside. Terrible.
They look gassed. The defense they're not getting any traction here.
Lots of backups here.
They're subbing
at least
for
on
sure
the
in
front.
the trenches, especially that front 7.
I haven't seen Mo I don't think I've seen him the entire drive. I don't think I've seen DJ. And then you forget the missed field goal. Like, that's where you could have started to build some momentum. Then you miss a field goal. That's pretty brutal.
And you get within, reasonable striking distance twice and come away with no points. You can't, when you're road underdogs, 17-point underdogs. Those are the type of instances that you got to capitalize on. And
100%. Yeah, and I mean, that safety was like a millimeter away. They've
still think
had
it was a
some
safety.
moments.
I really do. Not that it matters, in the end, but
it was right there.
It was there.
Right there.
It was close enough that I am surprised they didn't at least review it. But again, I'm generally anti-instant replay I feel like we review so many things that are inconsequential in terms of the outcome of a game that it's like I'd rather get a call wrong here and there and have the flow than have the NBA where we're reviewing every single thing for 48 minutes.
I mean, the flow is really important. As a bettor, I am torn on that kind of stuff.
I get it. When you have the technology, it's hard to argue to
But I think there's an easy solution, which is like you were saying, just call it in.
Yeah, why is it the on-field officials taking time to look at a monitor?
It's easy. Have someone in a headset.
How about it be like baseball?
Call
you just have a guy in New
100%.
York that's like, we got 8 feeds here. This is what we see.
100%. Is this 4-down territory for Wazoo?
Yeah, probably, just based on where they are in the field.
They seem really dedicated to getting old Katzer over here a touchdown. Seems like the team's mascot, So trying to get Katzer in the end zone. Let's hope they don't. I have no, whether they win by 24 or 31 makes no difference to me with the bet.
I'd be pretty surprised if they go to the air here, though.
Yes. And there's Katzer's touchdown. They really worked hard to get it. Credit to them. Minute left. That's
showed
that's
some
about
fight.
all I've got.
Showed some fight down the stretch in the second half.
Had some moments there.
It's great that they didn't lose by 50, given how bad that first quarter looks. I'll say that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you tie the second half 7-7, and definitely were the better looking team. You were the team that got the turnover. You get right down to the goal line, can't convert.
So if you're a CSU fan and you're tuned into this broadcast, you've obviously heard my perspective quite a bit at this point over the first month. From your perspective, Dre, though, as far as positives go, what can you take away from this matchup? Like, what stands out to you that you can build upon moving forward?
I think this is a legit good Washington State team. They've had their moments. I do worry about the secondary, but they've had their moments, and they have some real talent on that front seven that you can rely on. Jack Howell's a stud. And I think Clay Millen's shown that instead of continuing to see ghosts and just going further down into a hole, he's figuring things out. He's moving around. That ability to navigate the pocket was fairly impressive to me, especially as the game progressed. And over the middle of the field, he's shown some real accuracy. It's going to come down to how much can they progress in the secondary, how much can that O-line figure things out? Can the run game give you a little more support? And outside of Horton, how much can this wide receiver core give you? Which is a lot of question marks.
Yeah, I mean, the lack of run game's definitely been really hard just in terms of alleviating pressure and being balanced.
Exactly.
There's just been so many instances where, I think with the way that the offensive line has been, I don't fault the staff for having this approach and not wanting to drop back 60 times a game, because I think that's probably a recipe for disaster. But at the same time, I mean, when you're so consistently 2nd and 9, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 9, when your O-line struggles already, it's just a really hard way to move the ball. You're just not going to have a lot of success that way. So I think a lot of it's going to come down to the offensive line, but I like the mentality. I like what we've seen out of Clay Millen from a competitor standpoint, that they're still trying to make plays, that they're still, still trying to make plays, but also not forcing it. You see frustrated quarterbacks at times where you're down 30 and you're trying to make a play and he's thrown into double coverage. It wasn't that. They're still trying to run the offense. They're still trying to build on things. Now we got Braden Fowler, Nicolossian. If you listen to the Rams pod, I gave you that scoop earlier this week. He has surpassed Giles Pooler as the number 2 quarterback on the depth chart. They're not going to update that on paper every week, but Braden Fowler out of Aledo, Texas, dual threat guy, can bring a little bit to the table. Nice opportunity for him to get on the field here for the first time. That's always fun if you're a quarterback. I mean, ideally, you'd like to be on the field not down 31 points. But they've got a lot of arm talent. They've got a lot of intriguing prospects at that quarterback position, even outside of Clay Millen, to be excited about. And Braden Fowler Nicolosi is one of them, along with Jackson Stratton. He was originally committed to Washington, ended up coming over to CSU after DeBoer went to Washington from Fresno State. They got depth in that room, and it's been a while since we could say that. I would legitimately say,
yeah, it's true.
Maybe I can't say this anymore with Todd Centeio putting the numbers that he's put up for James Madison, but they've got 4 guys in that room that throw better football than anything we've seen the last couple of years, and that's encouraging. And, you know, again, sucks that Dante left. I know we haven't seen it at the receiver position, but they really do have a lot of talent there as well, even outside of Torrey Horton. Some of these true freshmen, Justice Ross Simmons caught his first career touchdown today, freshman out of Inglewood High School. That guy's going to be a stud. It's just going to take time for this all to come together. And as much as you guys, I swear to God, I hope we see some of these results come through. Like, I'm so tired of having to be the guy that says, you know, patience.
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Trust me, guys.
See it come.
I'm sick of it. This is going to, after today with, you know, UMass winning, CSU is going to have the longest losing streak in the entire country at 9 games.
Oh, man.
That sucks. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But you can see that they are making progress. And I know that it's hard to feel that way given the results of these first 3 games, but I do think you have to recognize the fact that
I want you to see how
we're playing 2 really good teams on the road in Michigan and Washington State. Middle Tennessee was frustrating. They showed some fight in that one.
They won the second half 19-7 in that one. They tied the second half here. Should have definitely won that. I'm seeing some positives to build on here, man. I think Jay's attitude's encouraging. Like, the whole team seems to be behind, like, yes, we're not where we want to be, but we are building every week, every snap, every quarter, slowly but surely to get to where we need to be.
Is it encouraging that they covered the spread?
Well, the live spread, yes.
Spread at least.
Not the -17, but yes. I mean, -34 seemed automatic going into the second half, and they definitely covered that. So
they didn't lay down. I mean, that's been a big message for me, is just learning how to be a more resilient team, and that's something that CSU is going to have to do. I mean, ultimately, it's going to make more of a difference in, you know, some of those more winnable matchups. Hopefully next week you can come home and get the first win of the Jay Norvell era.
Yeah.
But you're building, and it's going to take some time. Today was tough, but after giving up 21 points in the first quarter, you give up 7 in the second, 3 in the third, 7 in the fourth. That's respectable. You can win.
Bad.
I mean, 1 score per quarter, you can manage that, you know, especially going against a Power 5 team. It's just these tough starts. It's 3 weeks in a row where you're going down 3 scores, and it's just so hard, especially when you have an offense that isn't particularly thrilling. Next week, they have to get off to a faster start. I will talk about this game, break it down more on the DNVR Rams podcast presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. To everybody that tuned in during this watch along, obviously not the result we were looking for, but I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, big
If you
time.
have something that you want me to comment on, send it my way on Twitter, comment it on here. I'll address it on the post-game podcast. But much love. Dre, thanks for tuning in with me. Hopefully we can cover some, you know, more exciting football in this state down the stretch.
I'm excited for Mount West play. I really am.
I am too. I just want to get to Mountain West play.
Yeah.
I feel good about next week, guys. I know it's crazy to say after a 30-point loss, but I really do after the fight we saw from this team down the stretch. That's all we can hope for. It's going to be a work in progress. They're going to be a high-variance team. They're going to flash at moments. They're going to frustrate at moments. But you have talent on this program. You have the right coaching staff. They are going in the right direction. They really have shown improvement from week to week, as crazy as that may sound. But that's all I've got. Again, much love. Shout out to our partners, DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. Use the code DNVR when you sign up. Bet on all the action this weekend. I'm Justin Michael for Dre, for DNVR Sports, for my man Yahir behind the booth. Much love, y'all. Enjoy your Saturday. We'll be back throughout the week with all kinds of CSU Rams content. Peace.